Welcome to our channel Concepts for You. Today we are going to start a new chapter, Living World. This is a very basic chapter having a weightage in NEET of 2%. Means you can expect one question from this chapter. So without any further delay, let's start our short and sweet chapter, Living World. Let's see the outline of this chapter. In first part of this chapter, let's study what is living and unique properties of living organisms. In next part, we are going to cover diversity in the living world. In that, let's learn about biodiversity, taxonomy and systematics, nomenclature and their rules, then taxonomic categories and aids. Okay, let's start what is living. What is living? And what is the difference between a non-living thing and a living thing? First thing that clicks to our mind whether something is living or not is its movement. But movement always cannot be taken as a defining criteria for ensuring whether something is living or not. If we see, movement in animals can be seen very clearly, whereas in plants, and if you remember the bacteria present in curd, lactobacillus, which have discussed in our last video, that bacteria's movements are not seen with our naked eyes. So we cannot consider movement as a perfect criteria for deciding whether something is living or not. Today, let's discuss about some criteria or properties to decide the living organisms. Let's go. Our NCERT textbook is mentioning that a living organism can have many properties, but specifically it is saying about some properties. Let's see what are those. First property is growth, then reproduction, metabolism, cellular organization, and at last consciousness. Let's analyze these properties now. Firstly, let's talk about growth. See, when we are in infant stage, our structure is very small. Over a period of time, growth took place from a small kid to an adult form, as we are now. Reason of changing from a kid to this stage is mitosis of cells. In simple words, division of cells, which increases the number of cells in our body. As we are talking of mitosis, you should remember that our muscles and neurons doesn't mitosis. It means they won't divide but only increase their size. No number of muscle cells and neurons present when infants are equal to our adult form. So they had just increasing their size. In multicellular organisms, growth takes place through increase in number of cells or increase in size of cells. Another thing is that growth in animals stop after a certain period of time. But whereas in plants, it takes place throughout their life. Important point to be remembered is that in multicellular or higher animals and plants, growth and reproduction are mutually exclusive events. Means in multicellular organisms, growth is different aspect and reproduction is different aspect. But if we see in unicellular organisms, growth and reproduction are one and same thing. Okay friends, let us revise up to now what we have studied. Number 1, we have studied that growth takes place through increase in number of cells and increase in size of cells. Number 2, I said you to remember that muscle cells and neurons doesn't divide their cells or do mitosis but only increase their size. Number 3, growth in animals stops at certain point, like in girls at 18 or 19 years and in boys at 24 or 25 years. Whereas in plants, growth takes place throughout their life. Number 4, reproduction and growth in multicellular organisms are different. We have to remember a key word, mutually exclusive, here. Number 5, In unicellular organisms, growth and reproduction are one and same thing. Now let us go for our last point of the topic, growth. Here a question arises, does non-living things also grow? Yes, non-living things also grow. But growth in non-living things is different to the living organisms' growth. Let's say sand dunes in deserts. Let's say sand dunes in deserts. When air blows, sand keeps on accumulating or gathering at the place. Because of the accumulation of sand, sand dunes growth takes place. Here, you have to observe that growth is happened externally. But in the case of living organisms, growth is internal growth. So, growth is not a defining feature of living organism. But you should remember, if I mention internal growth and ask, does it a defining property of living organism? Then you should say yes. So, intrinsic growth is a defining property of living organism. Okay, here we are ending with growth topic and let's go for reproduction topic. Reproduction is of two types, sexual reproduction and asexual mode of reproduction. But a question arises that every living organism reproduces? The answer is no. Now, let's take an example of mule to understand this topic. Mule is an hybrid offspring of a male donkey and a female horse. Here, specifically, you have to remember a male donkey and a female horse gives mule, as the offspring of female donkey and a male horse is different. Female donkey and male horse offspring is hen, not mule. So you have to remember this aspect. For now, let's talk about mule. Here, mule is a sterile. Sterile means the living organism which cannot form gametes to have offsprings. We have discussed that mule is an hybrid. These type of hybrids are called interspecific hybrids. That means they are artificially made in labs. Now let's discuss the reason behind the sterility of mule. One of the reason would be the odd number of chromosomes. Here, mule gets 32 chromosomes from female horse and 31 chromosomes from male donkey. A horse has 64 chromosomes in total and 62 for donkey. When we talk of total chromosomes in mule, they are 63. The half of it is 32 and half. So, it is practically impossible to have a 32 and half number of chromosomes. Okay, let's talk of worker bee. Worker bee is a sterile female honeybee. If you observe in the picture, honeybees are of three types. Drone bee, it is a male honeybee, queen bee, female honeybee, and worker bee, a sterile female honeybee. We will learn more about the life of honeybees in our further chapters. It's a very interesting topic. Okay, let's continue our topic. Here, there will be some infertile human couples who could not have their children. That means they are not living beings? No. Worker bee, mule, unfertile human couples, they all are living. So, we cannot consider a reproduction as a defining feature to specify a living organism. Let's go for our next feature, metabolism. Metabolism. We know that our whole body is made up of cells. In every cell, there will be many reactions going on continuously. So, the chemical reactions that are occurring in a cell are called metabolic reactions. And what is metabolism? Metabolism is a sum total of all metabolic reactions occurring in every cell of our whole body. Did you understand the difference? Let's go further. In every particular organism, metabolism takes place. Now a small doubt comes in our mind that we can do metabolic reactions in vitro. In vitro means in lab. Then How to consider it a defining feature? So we can say that all the metabolic reactions happening in a cell is a defining feature of all living organisms. After understanding metabolism, it will be easier for you to understand cell organization property. Let's go for that. Cellular organization. We clearly understood that metabolic reactions happening in a cell is the defining property of all living organisms. So, without a cell, metabolic reactions won't happen. That means having a cell is also a defining feature of living organism. In fact, all living organisms are made up of cells. Here confusion cleared. Let's go for our last property, consciousness. First of all, what is consciousness? It is the ability to sense the environment and response to environment, which would be physical, chemical or biological stimuli. Plants also react and respond to external factors like light, water, temperature, other organisms, pollutants, etc. Human beings are the only organisms who are aware of themselves. That is self-consciousness. You would get a doubt that a person in coma have no self-consciousness. But if you observe, even he responds to medicines and procedures done by doctor. So he is indirectly responding to chemical stimuli. Next, important point to be raised, we see seasonal breeders. It may be plant or animal. For example, let's take mango tree. It gives fruit in summer season only. In animals, goats and sheep breed only in a certain period of time. So we can say that photoperiod affects reproduction in seasonal breeders in both plants and animals. So consciousness is the defining property of all living organisms. Let's quickly summarize the lecture. Number 1. Growth is not a defining property, but intrinsic growth is a defining feature. Number 2. Reproduction is not a defining property. Number 3. Metabolism is a defining feature, specifically metabolic reactions in cell. Number 4. Cellular organization is a defining property. Number 5. Having consciousness is a defining feature of living beings. At last, NCERT is defining living organism. Let's see what is the definition of living organism given by NCERT in our next slide. Living organisms. Living organisms are self-replicating, evolving, self-regulating interactive systems which are capable of responding to external stimuli. Let's understand this statement. Self-replicating means reproduction, evolving means mentally or physical growth, self-regulating means metabolism, interactive systems which are capable of responding to external stimuli means having consciousness. That's it. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, subscribe and put your valuable suggestions under comment section. Happy learning!